What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas, your host, bringing you another edition of the Thomas Take. And today is Tuesday, December 20th. I got a big smile on my face. The reason why I have the smile on my face is because, well, I made it. I made it again. I'm back. Third year in a row. Another finals appearance in the Lockport Fantasy Football League. Third year in a row. That is impressive. For people that have never played fantasy football, for people that don't even ever want to play fantasy football in their entire life, they do not understand how hard it is to go to one fantasy football championship, let alone two, let alone three, let alone four. This is my fourth fantasy football championship appearance. 3 years in a row, though. So, 2012 I won, 2014 I won, 2015 last year I lost, and 2016, here I am, back again. And to be quite honest with you, I did not think that this was my year. I really didn't. I didn't think this was my year again to make it. I had hope that I would make it. 2-4, staring 2-4 in the face to start my season, and I went on a run. Finished my season 8-5, didn't get the first round bye, no problem. Win the first matchup, the quarterfinal, and win this week's semifinal. Man, it was crazy. I did not think I would make the finals. And if I lose this year, which there's a 1 in 2 chance that I'll win or lose, 50-50 at this point, being me and Alec Spencer, the only two teams that are left this season, I honestly don't even care if I win or lose at this point. I want to win. Of course I want to win. But the fact that I made it this far after having the start of the season that I had, that's pretty awesome. Also want to mention, too, the fact that, congratulations to Alex Spencer. First year in the Lockport Fantasy Football League, and he made the finals. That's pretty awesome. You can't get much better than that. Besides winning the whole thing. But it's my job to prevent that from happening. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. The matchup puts my team versus his team. My team has Tom Brady, Des Bryant, Julian Edelman, Tyreek Hill. Let's see. What do we got for the starting lineups so far? So let's take a look here. The starting lineups. Let's see here. Starting lineups matchup. So, Tom Brady versus Andrew Luck, Des Bryant versus Odell Beckham Jr., Julian Edelman versus T.Y. Hilton, Jarvis Landry versus Jordan Matthews, Ezekiel Elliott versus Carlos Hyde, Todd Gurley versus Theo Riddick, Greg Olsen versus Martellus Bennett, Tyreek Hill versus Ted Ginn Jr., Matt Bryant, the Falcons kicker, versus Adam Vinatieri, who was my former kicker, by the way, that Alec picked up. Nice one. And the New England Patriots defense versus Arizona's defense. So that's the starting lineups, so to speak. I always kind of look at it in a versus situation. And right now, the Yahoo projections has me winning 139.44 to 137.58. I really hope that it is not that close in a scenario in which I win. If it's that much of a nail-biter, I will be sick to my stomach, so to speak. But congratulations to Team Spencer, Alex Spencer, for making it this far in his first season. He started the season 7-0. I started the season 2-0, then went to 2-4. I had a 6-game win streak. Alec kind of took a little bit of a slide, but he was able to bounce back late in the season, cinching himself that first round bye, getting the second seed in the Lockport Fantasy Football playoff bracket. So good for him. He made it this far. Good for me. We both made it this far. We're gonna, strap on our chin straps and go to work. Hope to God that I win. He's hoping to God that he wins. But it's been an exciting year. I want to thank everybody for competing this season in my fantasy league. I got 10 great guys now competing for this championship, and two guys are left out of 10 competing for this championship. And the teams that lost this past round, Zach Troutwine and Joker's Finest, and Eric Ellis as the Unbeatables. They both have great teams. That could have easily been the finals matchup. It just didn't turn out that way. Both have really good teams. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, really, with this matchup. Zach did not have Julio Jones. That was a big part of why I won. I'm willing to acknowledge that. But, I've had injuries this year, too. I went 2-0 without Tom Brady on his suspension. So, it goes one way or the other. There's no way to anticipate what's going to happen. Going into this matchup, I thought it would be close. It was close. I won this week versus Zach by a score of 113-95. And Alec won this week by a score of 124-116. So his matchup was close as well. And that's what sucks about fantasy football. You make it this far. When you lose close, it's not fun. But it's the name of the game. You got to expect to win, and you got to be prepared to lose. That's my motto. Expect to win, prepare to lose. Because if you're not, then you're just going to set yourself up for disappointment. And last season when I lost the finals, to Eric last season, the Unbeatables. He's the defending champion of Lockport Fantasy Football. And it was tough. It was. It sucked. Because I thought I had the best team in the league. I had Adrian Peterson and Todd Gurley. They had 2 big seasons last year. And I thought I had it. But my team fell flat on their face, and his team exploded. And that's the name of the game. That's fantasy football. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if just because you have, one guy that's more of a name doesn't mean that the waiver guy is going to do much worse than that player. You could have Barry Sanders, and he could run into the wrong opponent on the wrong day, and that guy could have, I'm trying to think of a running back from that era. I can't even think of one. Somebody that was bad. I don't know. But you get the point. You could have somebody that is really good versus somebody that's not so good. That person that's not so good, depending on the matchup, could do really well. It all depends on the matchups. And that was the case going into this week. Or going into last week, I should say. But I'm very excited. I've had a lot of fun this season playing fantasy football. In my other leagues, I had some letdown moments. In my work league, I placed I lost the semifinals by 13 points. My MFST league, the My Fantasy Sports Talk League, I lost by 4 points going into the playoffs with the best record as the first seed. And no first round bye. This was a different setup where you actually play the lowest seed in the wild card, and I lost. That happens. That's a part of it. Congrats to Brennan Reed for beating me. That was a good lineup that he put out, and it was enough. 4 points, 1 point is all it takes. So, congrats to the winners. Congrats to the losers. The people that lost. It happens. It is what it is. So, I made a few announcements on my Lockport Fantasy Football League page. This message is for all of the players in my league. I will announce the divisions at the end of the season. So once the championship matchup is set, once it's final between me and Alec and the storybook is over on the 2016 season, I will announce the 5-team divisions. 2 divisions, 5 teams, 3 out of the 5 make the playoffs in each division. And the tiebreaker is based on points for. If the points for is tied, which it probably won't be due to the fact that it's fractional points, then it will go based on head-to-head. So I'm very excited. I've wanted divisions in my league for quite some time, and I'm ready to make that switch. I feel like it's necessary, especially when you have 10 guys that are going to come back, that you know where everybody's at as far as team-wise. It makes it more competitive, makes it more evenly matched for everybody. It gives everybody a chance to have a dynamic of the league that gives them a chance to come back if they're down. So very excited to get off to the championship round. I did not think I'd be here. I did think if I made some of the right moves, I could possibly make it with the guys that I have. Having Tom Brady on my team doesn't hurt. Being able to make a trade for a guy like Ezekiel Elliott doesn't hurt. And having the players that I've had when I've needed them to produce. It is luck. 70% of fantasy football, I've said this for years, 70% of fantasy football is luck. The other half is intuition. And the other 30%, I should say, not half, the other 30% is intuition. It's all, you're putting the feelers out. And if you decide to pick up the right player at the right time, it can really make your season. It can really help your season. And that is case in point for anybody that picked up Ty Montgomery this week. He exploded. 162 yards, 16 carries, and a touchdown. He had a huge game due to large part in the fact that the Packers-Bears game was played in the cold, and the Packers needed to run the ball. And that was all they had. So the Bears' defense is not that good. They are, to say the least, shades away from the 85 Bears defense. And that resulted in Ty Montgomery going off and helping people win matchups. I actually benched him. Oh, God. I benched him in my work league. Oh, see, that's a part of it, too. You make a judgment call. You make a judgment call as far as who do you think will make the biggest impact on that day. And I was willing to start a wide receiver. My running backs are studs. Jonathan Stewart, LaShawn McCoy, and Jordan Howard. And they weren't even the reason why I lost. I lost because of my wide receivers. So if I could have put Montgomery in my wide receiver slot, that would have won me my week. I'd be playing in the finals in 2 separate leagues. I'm still alive in my buddy Zach's league, Brett Favre for president, playing Bobby Buffalo, Bobby Zeiler, I believe, in the semifinal round. So that's another league I did not anticipate being in the finals of, and I am. So in the semifinals of, one game away from the finals. So my 3rd year in a row competing in the finals. This is my message to the competitors in Lockport Fantasy Football. I've been playing fantasy football since I was 13 years old. I'm 24 years old. That's a long time. 11 years is a long time. I didn't even know when I first started playing fantasy football what it really was. I just thought it was like a computer game. I didn't know that it actually mattered how other players did was how well you did, or how bad players did was how bad you did. Until about 4 weeks in, when I was watching the Bills game. That year I drafted Drew Bledsoe. It was his 2nd year as a Buffalo Bill. He was my starting quarterback. He threw for like 400 yards. He got me like 45 points, 10 points off a 400-yard bonus, something like that. And I thought, wow, this is actually really cool. How well these players do will actually benefit me, and how bad they do could hurt my chances. So it actually, how well they do in real life dictates the pace of the game. And ever since then, I've played every single season. And it's a lot of fun. And I'd like to think that, being that it is 70% luck and 30% intuition, out of my 30% of intuition, I'd like to say that my full 30% is pretty golden. I make the right trades at the right time. I make the right moves at the right time almost every single year. That's not just luck. That's intuition. So there's sometimes cases where people want to see other people lose, and you want to see one guy win, and you get sick of seeing the same teams win or be in position to win. But you just got to prepare just a little bit better, because I'm pretty good at this. I've been doing this a long time. I think I've been playing fantasy football longer than my dad has, who is 51 years old. I'm 24. So, he's just kind of getting into it, where I've been playing it for a while. So I know a lot about these players. I know these players probably better than anybody in my league. So that's why I am in the finals. Take care.